Weekly
That's
live
the
stream.
adult number.
Yeah, we passed that one a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're too mature for that now. I think.
Yeah,
No.
96 is
We
the
pretend.
old people. They're just no longer facing each other. Want nothing to do with each other.
Oh god, that's so sad.
So welcome
So,
everyone.
yeah.
Today's unique. We don't have any art submitted on the subreddit, but we have got two people to submit art. Otherwise, we're also going to try something new, as Picarto has been pretty fun, but we're in the interest of trying stuff new. So we're going to try this
Yeah.
Doodle or Die. Wop. Feel free to hop in there. You have to create an account to actually join it, but basically it lets you doodle something out, and then other people join in the chain and doodle, and it keeps going. It'll be good.
It's like if you ever heard of the game Telephone. You know, pass it.
Yeah.
Basically, you just like someone draws something, and they pass it to a person, and that person has to write down what they think the drawing is. Then you pass it, and that person, by the sentence, has to draw what the sentence says. And it's like, it's like the drawn version of spoken telephone, where you whisper in each other's ears. All the fun. Yeah.
So right now it's waiting for people to throw some art on it. So just start your chains. We believe in you.
Do it, sillies. Unless
You do have to create
Yeah.
an account though. You can use
you do.
Twitter or Facebook, but I mean, just creating an account works too.
It's pretty great.
So, we have two pictures submitted from our lovely chat. First up, we're going to do Binky, because they're the first that I see.
Big one. Big drawing.
You can use your mouse. It has tablet input, but it doesn't have pressure sensitivity, so we're all on the same page. In fact, I think you can use your cell phone
The
for it.
pain.
It's just about having fun,
Yeah,
playing a
it's
game.
silly drawings.
No pressure here. Get you to loosen up.
No Bowie.
No ice, baby. Dun, 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 dun.
No flag.
Yes, flagged out.
No flag.
Every time.
We're good. We're good. You didn't hear
I
us.
made it out.
Oh no! Here it comes.
Hide.
All right, Binky. How about you tell us about your lovely picture and ask any questions you have offhand. It has 10. It does have 10 legs.
It's like with dryers, I often draw them with like the 4 lower legs and then the arms of the person as well.
It's
So I
a
guess the same
centaur.
with cronies. Yeah, it's like with it's centaur rolls.
Centaur spider horse.
Yeah.
Then again, these creatures never existed in real life, so it's whatever you want it to be.
Is proportions in general? So personally, I don't see too many issues with it. You have attached everything to the thorax, which is a little non-spidery. Actually, very much non-spidery, because they don't actually attach all legs to the butt.
There's like a section in between, like a midsection.
Yeah.
Couple, I think.
They're all like, but oh, tablet, I believe in you. But
So someone submitted one in one of our groups this morning, and it's like much more looking much more anatomically accurate. I don't know if we want to use that one as reference.
spider.
I don't even know.
That's what it's
There we go. That's very nice.
But really, there's my suggestion would be hop on some references. To be more specific, the legs look like they're floating. The body is really long in proportion, and the head looks small with a crooked face. It's really my suggestion if you want to fix the body a wee little bit. Pull the legs forward so they mount over here. That'll help with the body stretch a bit. As far as how long it would be from this point on, this area here, that's kind of fine because it sort of looks very adorable how she's hanging. Like when you pick up a cat, they sort of stretch out. Within 5 minutes, you had an unfortunate experience. What was the unfortunate experience?
Secret.
So unfortunate it can't be spoken about.
Dun dun dun! Oh, it's in chains. If you count nearly breaking your phone and crying from fear... Oh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That does sound
That'll
unfortunate.
do it. That'll be very bad.
You should avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
It's because there's lots of fluff. Lots of fluff and a pony attached.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I like it.
The pony makes it painfully adorable.
Yep.
Fluff.
Ah! There's the fluffinator.
Is that CPC ahead?
I heard a small faint fluff in the distance.
Come closer.
Come to us.
The CPC with connection problems.
Shu, you win this round. I see your first response to the chain.
That was quite silly. I didn't realize how to click play.
Yeah, I mean, anything. I like the hair. The one with sucker for curly, poofy hair like this, so
Absolutely.
it's fun. It's got volume.
Super cute. I really like it.
I like the different types of curls you have in there, and the different types of ways it poofs and jets
It's
out.
sort of weight to it, I think.
Mm-hmm. And like another thing, like you don't really show the arms connecting at any point, at least the pony hooves. So like maybe they come out from here because it all feels very flat in this section. Like I'd expect some sort of overlap or connection point or just more going on than just kind of like a tube.
Oh yeah, I like that decision. Because then that also shortens up that really long body.
Mm-hmm. Just little things to like help with that. And like people were saying earlier with the spider-ness, having the legs come out in the center and then the butt is its own light bulb in the back.
But oh no, stop it.
The butt light bulb.
For some reason I can't draw on this doodle thingy. It's not working.
Click back on the canvas. It doesn't like when you leave the bounds of the canvas.
I was doing and clicking like on the canvas and it's like, nope.
I don't know. I can't see what you're doing. Sorry.
It was like when I go to draw, it's moving the page as well, and then when I click back on the canvas, it gets rid of the line. It's confusing.
I was having issues. As long as I stayed within the middle of the canvas and worked my way out, it was fine. It's not. It's not as friendly with tablets as you'd like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any. It sounds like we don't have any further critique for this one. It's pretty awesome as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cute.
Just the corrections of pull the legs backwards a bit and pull the actual spider legs forward. You'll shorten out the body a bit through that.
And I would just practice the face, because right now it's kind of battling between like where the heads is. Like if I were to draw a cube instead of a ball, you know, like regular pony. Well, I guess if you're just looking straight on, it looked like a square. But if you want them to look down heavily, most of the facial features, I'll just draw it slightly curved too. Most of the facial features will be on this part that I have dashed out, where your eyes and face structure are kind of on the top as well, where that should be treated more like the top of the head if they're looking, you know, down with the muzzle pointed down. So things like that to be careful of in the future. And it's really easy, just, you know, to practice this. You just draw a bunch of circles. Maybe you'll have one that's facing you. Maybe it's facing you, but it's down further. Maybe, or like, you know, they're looking down, so you have a little bit of curve going on, and maybe they're looking this way, so play with it, practice it. It's definitely something that gets picked up with more practice over someone just saying this is how the face should look at this angle.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely that kind of thing. Like when you start off, it takes a lot of like referencing and studying, but like just doing it more and more, even if it feels hard, like eventually it will just build into your muscle memory. And more importantly, what you do is you end up building up your analytical eye, so that it not only helps with like analyzing things as the name suggests, but it also just means you're more able to understand 3D space and get images from your head onto paper, because you just kind of understand things better. So just doing different head angles a lot, you know, it will just build up. So eventually you'll be able to just draw it without even thinking about it, as well as that 3D shape and everything. I love that The spider bones like looks like it's trying to grab that little angry twy underneath.
Needs a hug.
And I zoomed out and noticed CPC doing a drawing on the bottom. Very cute.
Adorable.
Oh my gosh.
Your
Alright.
fluff has been spotted, CPC.
Let's move on to the next one.
Yes.
It was submitted by Maze. You with us, Maze?
In the cool.
We got a live one.
Sweet. All right. Do you have any questions offhand on this adorable little Twilight? Scratchy, scratchy. So you're trying to get to the best of your ability over the next few weeks. Okay. Best suggestion I have: pump out the art. Don't stop. Just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Drill through those things like it's Cheetos and you're hungry. Just destroy it.
Dom.
But really, you can get good by doing a lot of look at your pictures and trying to figure out all the mistakes. You get better by knowing how to control, or by getting very familiar with your tools. So
it's like I just mentioned a minute ago. Just the more you draw, the more it sort of builds up in your mind and your muscle memory.
Exactly. So get comfortable with your pencil. You might have been using a pencil all your life, but it's different to draw. So get comfortable with those movements.
I can't remember if there's some kind of old proverb or something. It's like in martial arts, sword masters, whatever, and it's something like it takes 100 days to master a sword, 100 years to let it master you, or something like that. I can't remember. But it's that kind of thing, sometimes just using a tool over and over again and just until it's second nature to you. But I mean, in more practical terms, analyzing your art, like LD said, looking at it, be very, very helpful. Sometimes you can only really gain that if you leave it and come back a while later after doing more drawings, and you look back at your old stuff and say, hey, I can see now how that nose is at the wrong angle or something like that. So I think to me, one of the fastest things for growing is looking at other artists and saying hey, let's see how I really like the ear they did here. Let's look at just how they did the shapes, how the curves go, and how the form builds up. Let's see what they're doing differently to me and how I can try and replicate that. And as we said before, just then just copy people's styles, learn them, try them, and see how they feel compared to yours and to each other. And eventually start to pick up little tips and tricks that you didn't have before.
Just throwing down a bunch of ink on this thing.
Yeah, I think especially if you want to try to get good quickly. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but all they've been saying, it's more about drawing a lot, a lot, and not getting caught up in erasing and fixing. I'm out of curiosity, how long have you worked on this Twilight, and how many times do you think you could have drawn this Twilight more than once compared to? I guess this is a complicated question. I can't think of a simple question.
Have you spent 5 hours on this picture, or is this the fourth iteration in 5 hours?
Yeah. Thank you, Zom.
I've drawn it 4 to 5 times. How long did it take you to draw that? and you want a confident and inspiring expression, go look at your mirror and make your own confident and inspiring expression. Because pony faces use a lot of the same cues to tell you, or cues that you use to tell people that's the expression. You have the eyes, you have the mouth. Those are the same bits that you're telling with your face as the horse face. Make that expression and then expand your eyes by about 2,000 times and you have a pony eye.
Mm-hmm. And like, always highly recommend looking at other animations for expressions, because that's what they did. They started out with looking at their own faces. It's like those classical pictures you see usually of old school Disney animators. They have mirrors as they draw because they're constantly looking at their face. But like, you can see kind of how they translate their face to the cartoon character with a lot of exaggeration and, you know, building it up like crazy fun time things.
You look at the ponies and they're animated, especially if you've seen the MLP movie, it's really good with this. Just like the way their faces bend and stretch is like super nice to see, and like it's that sort of thing that Ali's talking about. Like you can see the very subtleties that we have with humans with our expressions are like exaggerated in cartoons, and it's like it makes it much more expressive, and like because we can connect to that emotion, that's what makes it attractive to us usually.
Mm-hmm. But going back to, like, you said you drew this about 4 to 5 times. I highly recommend to really get get your head around anatomy, get your head around drawing all these poses and getting used to things. This first image I have here, yeah, study pictures. But like this first image, I put a 1 next to it. Draw like this. First, get the ideas. Draw like 20 pictures of this in this quality. Like, just don't put in the details. Get the vague shapes in, you know. Try to figure out, oh, it's like, oh yeah, maybe add a muzzle. Or like a little ball. Sometimes like a little ball where the muzzle will go, because then you can just drag it in, put the muzzle in. All that fun stuff. Do like 20 of those and try different positions. Just with that quality. It doesn't have to be detailed, doesn't have to be, you know, all this stuff. It needs like the base, the big parts in. I just have little like skeletal leg swooshes in to give me the idea where the legs would be. That's the best way you're going to have with learning poses and figuring out poses, and just getting an idea of what you want to make your pose better. Because like even when you settle on a pose, I just watched a really great video on poses. If anyone watches Jazza, I really he teaches really great stuff and really great things to do that beginners tend to get caught up in doing, and like what not to do when you get caught up in doing. I'm rambling, but yeah, just
very useful stuff.
draw a lot. Don't worry about getting the details in. Just draw and figure things out. Experiment, push, change.
Yeah, because that will get you so used to like just if you have to spend like an hour doing like a quick doodle of a pony, but then like you do it over and over again until you've just done it so many times that you are just completely used to it, and it only takes you like 5 minutes by the end of it. Then it's like, wow, you've just like, you know, that's a huge advantage to have. So you've already made something great there. That's why I like doing comics and stuff. Well, it seems like something you just want to go like, oh, I don't have the motivation for that, you know. But like when you do it, it forces you to do lots and lots of drawings. So by the end of it, you feel like it's like any art block you have is just gone because you've just gotten the flow back on, basically.
Like, I'm looking at your study pictures here, and I even think they're going into too much detail. You're trying to like really define things, when right now you want generalizations. You want to work general to specific. So like with sketches and studies that you're doing, like I just clicked the first link you posted. Let me click the other two. Yeah, like you're trying to put so much detail into them at the beginning. When you want to find the general shapes, you know, find those loose different things, and maybe next to it try to draw it again, but then start to slowly define it.
Because if you're trying to make some like awesome piece of art, then great. Like obviously you want to put like the detail in there, and you're trying to figure out how to make it look really nice. But the point of studying, it's really important to remember to stay loose, because then you're not getting so buckled down into a drawing. The point is just that you want to like experiment with different shapes, and like you can't really do that if you're getting caught up and slowed down by doing everything else. So like if you can just like, okay, I practice this eye shape and these legs and everything, cool. Maybe I'll try it again. Then you're really getting the benefit out of your studying.
Yeah.
So just super quick, rough. Like you don't want to just like rush it to the point where it's like just not what you'd actually be drawing. If it just looks like garbage, when you could do much better normally, then like don't just scribble it out like it's nothing. But at the same time, like you don't want to get too invested in a single thing until you've got that groundwork done, like Ali said.
I know. I see it a lot. I've done it myself. You want to go for those details first, because that's what you see first. Especially when doing a study, you see the finished thing first. But there's so many more steps before that that you need to figure out that aren't there, but is still there for you to figure out. So being loose and messy, and
I think that's often why when you start off drawing, it's very hard initially to get images from your head onto paper. That's actually like a good idea, like as to why that might be hard for people, because it's like you see this thing in your head and you got like the details in, but like you don't quite know how to get the groundwork down to get to the point where you can put those details in. So it's like once you have that stuff figured out, then it all becomes much easier and falls into place.
I'll link 2 videos. Anyone watching the stream, highly recommend watching them. They're actually 2 of Jazz's latest videos. He doesn't do pony, but that's fine. I know, blasphemy. But the stuff he teaches is really important to listen to, really understand the process. It's not necessarily what you're drawing, but how you're drawing it. Basically, the videos are called Sketching 101 and Pose 101, and I think it really gives some great tips to kind of work at the general to specific of sketching, and try to get stuff loosely down and then figure out the details. Because once you learn to get the stuff loosely down and figure out the details, soon you can just start putting down those blob shapes and then banging out the details like it was
nothing. Like I said, it'll become second nature to you, so you can just go straight into like hammering out the base sketch and then putting the details in. I know, because that's exactly how I was. Like, I remember when I'd take like an hour to do a terrible looking anime picture, like copying all the basic like eye shapes and everything, and I was just like, oh, here's a pony, and then I just work on the details. So it definitely helps to just like force yourself to get to that point, where everything's built into you.
Well, don't put them off too late, because those videos are there to help you. It's not about getting there. You want to, learn as much as you can when you can. Watch a video here and there. I mean, watching videos is also something helpful next to drawing. These teachers. Drawing is the most important, but, these videos, these people who are, truly professional, who have been doing this for a long time, really do have great advice. So as much as videos sometimes feel like, oh no, I'm putting off drawing, I can't watch them. Oh, right. You cannot access YouTube. That is correct. I forgot.
I knew there was someone who watches our show who can't watch things.
Dang.
Crazy.
Ugh. Dumb internet laws.
Yeah.
Isn't
Internet should be for every pony.
Proxy service for that?
I'm not sure how China works.
All right, Tarson. You there? It looks like you are. You're like half paying attention to the conversation. You there, buddy? Tarson? Shake. Okay, good. Let's do this. You have the Trixie down beneath. Yeah, Trixie.
Trixie.
Blue horse, Trixie. Any questions offhand for us? Yeah, anything seems off? you have a giant ear on one side but no ear on the other side. That seems off to me. We need an ear.
I feel like...
The head, how it's connected, seems a little off. I would just take the entire head and move it over just a bit, because the way you have the neck going up, which the back here, it means it would connect midway on the back here, when in reality it should be connecting over here. So I just push the head over just a little. The tail does look starched. Yeah. Totally agree. They are not a skeleton or skeletal structure beneath them. They are in fact just this wee little thing that goes whoop, and then they have this big amount of hair. They go woo, big swooshies. They can do odd things, but I mean, just sticking straight out, unless if it's like a windstorm or a starch attack or Pinkie Pie's around. They just, I mean...
All that fun craziness.
Just swoosh. Use the power of the swoosh. Big swooshy lines.
And overlap.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of times in the show we just see like, is it tails as a piece of paper? Pardon me. I had to take a lozenge. My throat was hurting. So I apologize in advance. Right. So, butt. Here's a circle for the butt. Tail comes out of the butt. Well, not out of the butt, but out of the spine. There's a little spinal bip. And of course, the tail comes up. Goes down because gravity and hair. Hair isn't that strong. But just this little line of overlap. It tells us so much about the tail. What direction it's going, the weight it has. Just this little line right here. This little guy. Boom. And it already feels like it's a 3D object behind a pony. Give it some legs. Weird, Don't worry, there's no body. It's just back legs and a tail. Natural pony. Ta-da. And it feels like the tail's behind the butt. Booty boom. The other thing I'd say, with your back legs here, be careful of these like hard pivots. Especially when the leg is kind of like at this point, it's stretched out. It's pretty straight. It's fairly straight for a pony. It would be more from the thigh. Let me get a different color that you can actually see. Maybe red. Yeah, red.
Yeah, the flesh is gonna sort of like bridge the gap and
it's
bend.
stretching.
We
like
also want to do these like thick thighs that bend in and then go back out again. But like when particularly when it's stretched like that, it's really not gonna fold that way.
I kind of like to think of the thigh as this oval, and then the hock of the pony will come out. Sort of like, if I could break it down into shapes. The hock's just kind of like this little cylinder, and then you got the rest of the leg coming down. This is just a very simplified version. Now the skin over top of that, it just stretches. It just, it's this nice flow down, especially with the leg in this position, because there isn't much bending going on. It's very like pointed out, so there'd be less sharp angles, since it's just this nice curve, and that'll bring a nice curve to your piece in general. Like legs having these nice curves, and like how fluffy you fixed your arm here, instead of having all these sharp changes. Even though we know, like, yeah, joints will have sharp changes, but there's still curves to them. Lots of these cartoon ponies are especially curvy and, bean shaped and circular, and they're not very like sharp.
One of the things I always sort of talked about from way back is, the fact that from having studied digital art in college, something that I recognize from the show is that like there's no very, very few straight and jagged lines. They're almost always super curved and soft, which goes in along with all the pastel colors because they basically created this very much eye candy feel. Everything that's cute and squishy and soft and like just attractive to the eyes. It's very like inoffensive and not harsh. So like you want to avoid like anything too sharp or angled really, unless you're going for a particular stylized thing. But it's sort of remembering what like different line shapes mean and feels they give off.
Any other questions? And that being said, of course, there are styles that utilize sharpness in drawing ponies. But from my overall understanding of what you're drawing right here, definitely feels like you're going for the more curvy, softer pone than like a sharp and angular and, you know, abstract. Because like there's some really cool stuff you can do with angles and ponies. Don't just throw them out because that's what like the show style isn't doing. But for what you're leaning towards, yeah, definitely think a lot of curves and soft edges and kind of thinking about how the anatomy would work instead of just like a, I'm trying to think even what to call it, just like a, you know how like dolls have just like that one joint in their elbow, so it's just either like you go you crink it forward or you have it out straight. We can play with a little more than that. Hopefully that's made sense. I know I'm not in like the best of heads right now to explain things. I really hope
It's okay. That's
I'm coming across.
That's really very good points. Yeah, I definitely agree. Anyway, it's always sort of like worth looking at styles, but then like understanding what those styles mean and what it is that you actually want. I know because I'm always constantly drifting between different styles because each day I want to do something different and I can never decide on one thing. Like sometimes I want something that's like all kind of longer than the show and like you know the tall ponies that you see they're all nice and sort of have nice body shapes. Some days I just want something just like the show that's all cute and small. I don't know.
Totally. It's awesome for people to experiment. And I encourage people to experiment and try different things.
Mm.
I think the one reason people, you don't normally hear people say like experiment and try different things. We always give critique to go towards one place is because it's like experimenting is for you to do. We can't teach you to experiment, but we can teach fundamentals, like if there's something wrong with anatomy or you know, just general placement and proportion and form, you know, value and colors, how the shading is. We can help with like art has no rules, but we can help with like the soft rules that art has, the things that are somewhat logical and have rules to follow, like anatomy. We can look at a horse's bone structure. Those are the rules of what a horse looks like. And then we kind of bring it to pony, because pony, of course, based on horses. Anyway, I'm rambling. What else is an art they want to critique?
Your rambling is very, very helpful and insightful, so it's okay.
I don't know about that.
Luna Moon Art says a horse.
Yay, horses.
All right. Anyone who hasn't seen the movie, look away for the next 10 minutes.
Oh no. Spoilers.
You have any questions offhand, Luna Moon Arts?
I just noticed Ali added this speech to her drawing saying, "I've been found" after I spotted it. Oh, it's so funny. Where is this drawing we're critiquing?
It's not on the...
He's getting it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is. It's up at the top.
Ah, I do.
Sneaking
That's
in
a
at the
very
top.
good picture. Wow, very nice.
Any questions offhand, Luna Moon Arts? Trying to do some more vivid colors on this one, but they seem kind of flat.
I don't know.
To be fair,
What,
she's a...
A dark colored pony.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
Like,
thinking
what
this.
sort of area do you think it looks flat in? Like, is there a particular part of the, like a section of the body or the armor or or the background?
You did really make her eyes pop and the cutie mark thingy. The armor
It's
mark
looking
that
emblem.
disappears. Could be more done with the eyes to make them pop. By adding a little more white into there for the eye spots.
The eye spots. I also might suggest taking away the black line for the colored layer of the eye. Because when you look at eyes, they don't really have that like black line. And especially with such a bright color eye, it almost makes it feel a little dirty and flat. Instead of getting like that nice bright roundness we can get with like the white reflections in the eyes, as well as like that color singing through, being very bright and vivid.
So you wanted the black of the armor and her color to pop. You just won't. They are way too dark and single colored to ever pull that off.
I mean, you won't do
can
it trying
some
to be
things with shading,
realistic.
with highlights. There's some things you can do to make it with highlights to add color or to make the arm look shiny. But you know, again, like LD said, you got to recognize that like you can't really make colors pop when they just don't, because they're sort of dull colors. That's just how things are.
Like,
But
you
there are
can
ways to make it
change
look
her
nice.
colors. You can make things pop. It may not rely, if you're pulling, her colors right from a reference, it may be breaking, the color reference you have, Especially, I highly suggest starting brighter. She's a very dark pony, but that doesn't mean we can't push her colors to be brighter. It may not be her show canon code color, whatever. It's art. We can change whatever we want. But start brighter and then bring in the dark colors, because brightness is what's going to make it pop, and darkness is what's going to make things hide. So if you start with everything popping, then you can start slowly hiding things. That's working light to dark.
And then you get more control.
And that way it won't just be like, because the other problem, and I love doing highlights, but sometimes you can run into this problem, especially with a very dark character, that you have so much dark and just these like streaks of bright, shiny highlights. It almost feels, I don't know, like they don't fit because everything else is so dark. So it's like
Yeah,
finding
you don't want the
that
highlights to be too
balance.
stark.
It's really about finding that balance.
Balance. No, just color. Blow it up like it's just like she just ran through a paintball warfield.
And I know Pencil Case just took it away, and I'm sorry if no one didn't see it, but I really enjoyed what she was doing, really pushing that glow. Oh, it's fine, CPC. I like that. It's pushing the glow. Her armor, has this spot on it that can produce light, this green, different light, different from everything else in her body. And armor is shiny, so it's gonna pick up that light very intensely, especially on edges. So like little things like that, it's gonna help it pop. Really like where light gets picked up, where your light source is, where light's coming from, and how it'll reflect and catch on different materials and objects. Like on the tail, it might be a soft glow, but on the armor, those edges are really gonna catch those nice bright greens. And that's gonna be something that'll help it pop.
So your proportions were another question. I don't see problems with proportions. This looks well sized for how you've done it. Like even for MLP proportions, this is pretty standard. Your legs are a little long compared to normal MLP proportions, but only a touch, and it's not a problem.
Well, it is Tempest.
Yeah, Tempest was like hilarious.
She's like a tall, thicker fleur-de-lis.
I still don't understand what that armor is supposed to be doing for her.
What do you mean?
Well,
Stylish.
if you're being attacked forward, like you're charging towards an enemy. Where's the front armor on this thing?
Listen, we all know you
Well,
gotta
if you have
protect the
some,
booty.
no.
The booty has the power with the cutie mark. Yeah, see, Cold Trail gets it. You gotta protect the secret butt mark.
If she even has one anyway.
Slash our MLP definitely had pictures up yesterday of ideas for cutie marks.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm happy it's a safe for work subreddit. I really wanted to show up in the show.
She might. Who knows?
Like, hey guys, how's it going? Ah!
I think we're getting some of the movie characters in the show, maybe? Question mark.
Listen,
Don't
I
know
got
yet.
Sunset to be a pony again. I really believe anything's possible now.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Hey, Parker Steve. All right, do you have any further questions on this one? While he thinks on that, I'm gonna play on Doodle or Die.
It's for fashion. Except it'd be more
Yeah.
rarity. Rarity.
Oh, mine wasn't working, so I can't.
I highly recommend, if people aren't watching, they should watch the new Equestria Girls shorts, because, yeah, say what you want. It's pretty terrible style, the human things. But it's still the same characters we know and love, and there's some
Well,
actually great stuff that happens. It's just silly.
I like. Yeah, they're enjoyable if you just sort of stop caring. Just
Yeah.
it's a thing to watch. Yeah. They're slightly less like they don't know haven't learned all the friendship lessons that we've had in Equestria because they've been like broken up as a team before Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like Rainbow Dash is way more like arrogant than she is in the show.
Oh, totally. And there's so much terrible shipping. They're trying to pawn Twilight's
Fine,
character.
terrible.
Well, like it's just.
Oh, you mean like the actual official shipping, not like fan
Yeah,
shipping.
yeah, no, not fan shipping. Like
Like,
they just.
Frickin' Timber, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Who cares?
they had a whole episode dedicated to it, and it just was cringy.
Oh, God. No, please. I don't want that.
As for the color Lunaman, yeah, she's a great designed character for what they do. You know what? Watch the movie again. Really, like, try to analyze what they do with her color palette. Like, she may have this one color palette, but see what the color palette's like in different moods during the movie. Like, a lot of the times it's dark because she's portrayed as the evil villain, but maybe find like the more happier scenes where she finds hope, or at the end, try to find her in some light where she's happy, because like I know they do that a lot for characters, that they'll change their palettes depending on the mood, just slight shifts but enough to get that emotion and feeling across to go.
Yeah, a lot of the time they sort of do it with the atmosphere, like there'll just be like an overtone or something, just to sort of give them a different feel. Slightly less saturation here, slightly different shift here.
Oh, excuse me.
Your excuse.
No. I keep making weird throat noises. I feel bad.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for a Gregorian chant from you.
I've been yawning all day, and TPC just got over a cough.
It's going all over the place. I once saw a throat singer. That was an experience. Like,
Yeah.
it just pure sound coming from their throat that was just. It's like their
Sounds really
Fujizella, not Fujizella. What's the Australian thing? The
Didgeridoo?
long
Didgeridoo.
tube? Didgeridoo. Thank you. It just sounded like a didgeridoo was coming out of their face. It was really crazy. Anyone else out there have any art they wish to be critiqued, or anyone who just has questions that confuse them, and we're confused too, but we're happy to share the things we've learned in our own journeys, because we're all still journeying, and we can all share. Even people in the chat can share.
But we can learn together.
Yeah. You got this.
You got
We
this.
can have this together. I think I had that in her head because I sung my own version of it and I sent it to her.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Or just I made up a verse anyway for a story. Because I'm silly. What
What you
is that
giggling?
cackle about?
I'm giggling at the doodle or die. I'm looking.
I'm just watching you draw on it.
Can other people see you doing your drawing then? Find it.
You need to create an account on it. Yes.
Oh, wait, I didn't close it.
So the way this works is you go down over to here. Ooh. Explore the room, and you hit play in this room. And it's like, hey, you get to draw or you get to write. So this one's Pirate Rarity found a treasure chest full of crabs. And I'd have to draw that. And then I hit submit. And then the next, or I get a text to write from that. And then I hit submit.
It's still the same. There's nothing like I can't see other people's doodles or anything, and I still have the same one.
Okay, you aren't. What you need to do is you have play in this room, right? The button down the side.
Yeah, that's what I clicked on.
Click that,
Mhm.
and you have what doodle?
Yes.
What's on your screen now?
Draw a starlight glimmer. Need to hit the weak point on the tofu monster.
So did you draw that?
No, because I can't draw. It's not working. Because
So-
it's doing this silly thing.
So
I
when
can
you
draw with my mouse, I guess, but not my tablet.
so then draw with your mouse.
But I can't draw with my mouse.
Well, then draw with your complaints.
Just be silly with it.
Plus, I need reference to starlight anyway.
Oh, just grab your plushie. I believe in you.
I don't have a starlight plushie.
I don't believe it.
I was just thinking the other day. Oh my god! I kind of want to get like a Build-A-Bear one if and when they do it. Then I realized they did, and I forgot about it. And I was like, oh my god! Now what do I do? I don't have room for a plushie. Oh wait, this pony's a Pegasus. No, he needs wings.
All right. So it looks like we have no more submissions of art. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, no, maybe.
I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
Of course, I knew you were going to say it.
So we're going to call it a day then. I implore everyone to hop onto the Doodle or Die. It's pretty silly. The stuff that's coming out of it is kind of awesome. There's like, well, you can go back and see what everyone's done. So started off with Zamzam, and then someone write zombie pony with a half missing ear peeking out from the bottom of the screen to stare at you. And that's the response from Strangersaurus. It's adorable. And then we had...
Yeah, I couldn't see anyone else's drawings on there. It's weird. It was like,
I think
there's
you have to
nothing here
finish
yet.
one
Check back
first.
later.
Yeah, you have to finish
Oh,
one to
okay.
be in the chains.
Aw.
You actually have to put in the work to get the work out. So then I wrote a pony attempting to hug a monitor, and Shoe Unit drew Pinkie Pie hugging a computer monitor, which looks like Discord's going on. And then Strangersaurus wrote Pinkie Pie in love with the computer. And it's just going to keep going.
I could always try to plug my old tablet in and see if that would work. But it'd probably be the same.
So thank you all for joining, and we'll see you again next week for the 97th live stream.
We're too old.
Yeah.
Bye.